We're now joined by somebody who can help break down some of the college football games and also the ones coming up. Our great friend Phil Bennett in his gorgeous backyard in College Station, Texas, joins us on 365 Sports. Are you feeling better each week?
Getting better, slowly but surely.
Good. Great to have you. Thank you very much. Florida, Billy Napier, hot seat every day. Probably will go right back in it. But, Phil, they started out with a long double-digit drive, took 7 minutes off the clock. They were the better team on Saturday in Gainesville, Florida.
You know, Smokey, I didn't think the game was as close as the final score. I thought, just like you, from the start to finish, they played outstanding defense, gave up a couple of scramble plays. Arch was able to make a few plays, but offensively, Lagway seemed to find his game. And I'm like you. I thought they played very well. Never really thought Texas did anything that would make me think that they were going to win the game. But they made it close. And I'll tell you, the Aggies, I look at football is the game of matchups. And looking at the Aggies having 300 yards rushing against Mississippi State, and then Florida's defense, there's gonna be some contradictions in this game Saturday night here.
A&M can kind of do it either way. I think that's the thing that's impressed me the most about them. They were in a shootout with Notre Dame. They were in a defensive battle with Auburn. This week was kind of a mixed bag of things because they didn't start out really well. But because the defense can either step up and make stops when they have to, or as they have since they got into SEC play, lock completely down, they can kind of, take some chances on offense that maybe they couldn't before.
Right. One of the big things that happened, Paul, is Reuben Owens, their freshman recruit from a year ago from El Campo, had 140 yards. He had a knee injury last year, and having him come back was really a good boost for them.
Coach, have you ever experienced as embarrassing of a loss as what it feels like James Franklin experienced? I know you've had teams that were upset, but to the level of what we saw on Saturday in Westwood, how shocked were you by that? And how do you get your program back on track from reeling after a couple of losses, especially one like that?
Craig, after being around college football well over 50 years as a player and coach, we forget sometimes. It's still a game of emotion and mental preparation, what it means. I think they played a huge game. I think they put a lot of stuff into the Oregon game, felt they should have won the game. They're playing a team that has basically been embarrassed in most every game that they've played, and it really hasn't been competitive. And I think that with the changes that Coach Skipper has made out there, obviously it was neat with seeing the young Neuheisel calling the plays and being so successful. I think it was a perfect time, and it was sort of something that one side had nothing to lose, and the other side was still wallowing in something. And it just goes to show when you're dealing with this game, your mental preparation is and your psyche means everything.
So you, like you said, you've done that for almost 50 years. What game blindsided you? Coached in hundreds, maybe. What game may blindsided you, whether you were a coordinator, the head coach, whatever?
I think probably the game that when I started coaching, we were a pretty good team, and it's really this is sort of strange, but we go into Astrodome. I think it was like 79, might have been 80, and we had played Memphis State and we had beat them, I think 59-0. Houston had lost to Memphis State 21-10, and you want to know what the score was at the end of the first quarter? 31-0 U of H.
What? Yeah.
31-0. And I mean, we were all just, I mean, and we couldn't recover. We couldn't recover. And I saw a season in that game go down the drain. It was the beginning of the end for Emory Ballard. Emory, the next week we played Baylor. We were better than Baylor. Baylor beat us. We made Walter Abercrombie we got him in the Baylor Hall of Fame.
Wasn't that when he was his first start or whatever?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
on the way down,
yeah.
and Grant Taft tells him he's going to play, and he didn't
Yeah.
even know that?
We didn't even know who the hell he was.
Well, you did after that. Yeah, you did after
but
that.
you know, it's just crazy, the mindset. And it's not just the mindset, it's the preparation. And you know, I'll be honest with you, it affects coaches too. You know, they're paying a coach up there $3 million. They're supposed to give the best product. I'm sure it affected him. He's watching them play against UNLV. He's watching all these teams. Northwestern beats them, and he's thinking, you know what? We're going to get past this, and then we'll regroup. You know, you can't do that nowadays. You can't. You never could do it.
No. Phil, Tech is rolling along. I mean, absolutely rolling along. Outside of what they're doing on the field, offensively and defensively, which is amazing. What does it say about Joey McGuire that he has been able to, and even in some of the best situations, like, look, Nick Saban still had to go and complain to people about you're not giving me enough money when he's got the Avengers in the locker room. He even had to do that of having the president, the donors, the athletic director, everybody is in lockstep, aligned behind that goal. That is really hard to do at any athletic department or football program, even the most successful ones.
I think, Paul, you look at the top. They're chairman of the board, played football at Texas Tech. He's done extremely well financially. He's invested. But I'll tell you something that my mind with Joey is Joey has bought in. He's hired good coaches. It's not easy to tell two guys, you know what, or a defensive staff, you know, I'm going to make a change. That's hard, you know, because, you know, Joey, they were good people. They were good coaches. But for some reason, there wasn't a fit there. I watch them. I'm still a little bit leery. If you look at the people they played, they haven't. I thought U of H was, after watching them against Oregon State, was very beatable. But I will tell you, they're playing like believers. And on the thing that gets me on defense is they're flying to the ball, very physical, lining up well. Kenny Perry's got them playing great special teams. And, you know, you go back to Utah. You know, they win the whole second half with a backup quarterback. So there's a lot of belief in what Joey's got going on.
You just hit the nail on the head for me. Like, they haven't always played the cleanest, but they believe, and they also know they're not there yet, which I think is very powerful. They're not sitting there smelling their own, farts right now. They're going, hey, we're good, but we've got a long way to go. And I think that's really key for them moving forward.
And I think the coaches I think they're letting them know, you're as good as your last game. You watched last night, you watched the Bills and the Patriots. Hey, that was exciting. The Patriots weren't afraid to win that game. Yeah. And the Bills, I mean, it wasn't like the Bills just gave it to them. I mean, that's what you love about football. That's the challenge. It's not just the brute strength. It's the preparation and it's the mindset.
No doubt. Yeah, that was a great way to close out the weekend. Hell of a win there for Drake May and the Pats. K-State and Baylor, two programs that you know awfully well. I thought going into this, with what we'd seen, there was a good chance it'd be a shootout, and it pretty much turned into that. And there was some crazy plays in this game, Phil, but ultimately Baylor's 4-2, and it doesn't feel like it necessarily, but they're 4-2, and it's better than being the alternative. But for K-State, just another close loss. I think we said earlier, 4 losses by a combined 13 points. So kind of where's your head at for both teams coming out of that game?
First of all, I applaud Baylor and their players and coaches. I mean, it's not easy. They've been on the flip side of that too. Obviously with the Arizona State game, they found a way to win. And just watching them, you could tell that they're still, I mean, they're being coached hard. The players still believe in themselves. It was a heck of a game. The only thing that I was disappointed in was the crowd. I was just sick that in a big game, the Baylor Kansas State game, that place needed to be full. And those players deserve, and the coaches deserve that, because they are 4-2. And I look at this league, I don't see a dominator. There's no dominator. I mean, think about where we were a year ago. And David, you remember this. One game, every game's a one-game season, and look how they ended. It's fantastic.
All right, well, let me ask you this. We brought up Tech, and we've brought up a few of the other games. Is there a difference with what you see because their defense is loaded and playing so well? They beat up Houston. Is there a separation with what they have so far from what you've seen anybody else in the conference?
The only thing I question about Tech is their games they played. They really haven't played. Now, I'm gonna say this about Utah. I didn't think Utah was a great team going in, and I don't think Utah will be a great team. And I don't think they're a team that will win. I could be wrong, but the day they played their quarterback defensively, I just don't see them being an upper level. I look at, obviously, Arizona State. Iowa State played so bad early, still had a chance at the end. I don't think they're out of it. Cincinnati is really good on offense, not very good on defense. Kansas is a offensive team. They have trouble stopping people. I look at Baylor. Every game they've got left, it's going to be interesting. Now the Tech game, if they keep moving on offense, they'll have to play really well on offense to score the points to match Tech.
You mind if I follow up with another question? This is from the chat room from Fight On. He's a big USC fan. Ask him how he feels about today's players wearing jewelry and necklaces during games. Oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to sit back and listen to you.
Well, first of all, he needs to go back to the first part. I've been involved in this 50 years, and I'm old, but there's an integrity about the game. I mean, I think football does so much more. It's so much more in the game. It's about life. Football teaches you the ups and downs, the work, the teamwork, coming back from defeat, staying up when you win. I mean, there's so many things. And one of the things that it presents is a self-discipline. And the one thing that bothers me about today's game, I don't think it'll change, is you make a normal tackle and you're beating your chest and you're like, just play like that's your job. And I think there's a lot of things going on in today's football. People wonder why the NFL is calling so many flags. They're tired of seeing it. The fans don't want to see a guy, that makes a regular catch get up and give a first down. Just get back to the huddle and play. That's just my take. Now, do you want them to have fun? Absolutely. Celebrate with each other. So that's my take.
Yeah, Phil, I think sometimes it just they need Disney take put them all in a drama class and let them know showmanship is not about every time that Mick Jagger finishes a song, he doesn't sometimes he just goes to the next song, right?
Right.
He doesn't always wait for the applause. Sometimes he just goes right to the next one. I think that's the biggest thing.
Paul, you got to seize the right moment.
Exactly.
Making a tackle for 8 yards on 1st and 10 is not the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Making a tackle on 4th and 2 is the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. They need a coach that teaches, maybe just bring in the theater guy, teach a little showmanship, a little Broadway, give him a little Broadway.
You know what? I'm all for the celebrations together with the teammates, but it's just a different, but I will say this. The integrity of the game is the competition. And when you take away from that, then I've got a problem with it.
Which player, and I could probably think of 2 or 3, had the dumbest penalty that angered you more than anything else possible? And we could focus on Ahmad Dixon or Orion Stewart, or maybe there's a couple of others I don't
Hey,
think
you're
of.
not going to believe this.
No.
I got a text today from the Ahmad Dixon. I've got to call him. He's coaching high school football in Vegas.
What?
And he says he needs to talk to me. So I immediately went looking for my checkbook. No, I've been fortunate. I really, there's been plays that have happened. The thing that sticks out in my mind, and it's the craziest thing ever. The least likely guy was Bo Blackshear, bum rushed an umpire that year that we could have gone to the Sugar Bowl on third down. I mean, we'd stopped them, and Swope was the quarterback. And somebody, for Bo to go crazy, something happened. And then I saw on the tape why he did it. And he ended up getting kicked. I don't know if he got kicked out, but they gave him 15 yards.
What is the most frustrating penalty as a defensive coach? The not paying attention and jumping off sides with 3rd and 4 or 4th and 1, or the unsportsmanlike penalty post play, or what?
I think the most selfish thing is when you get a personal foul doing something that shows you off, because the rules. One of the things that I'm still angry about when we closed Floyd Casey, we won the first championship in 2013. We played so well that day against Texas with their good running backs, Adams, their receivers, and we get a pick 6.
Oh yeah.
To finish, to close the case, and of all people, a guy in College Station, I'm not going to say his name, I still like him, but I was ready to kill him, calls our guy for a high stepping. And we ended up scoring, but it wasn't a defensive touchdown. So just anytime you bring, put yourself in front of the team.
So was that I know you had the 2 junior college. Who am I forgetting about? You had Williams?
Williams and KJ Morton.
Was that
It was
KJ?
KJ.
Yeah.
They Texas tried to run a slip screen to Malcolm, what was his name? The back. Malcolm Brown. And I'm telling you, we had a great rush. Oakman batted the ball, and it was a great play. KJ was a hard corner, read it, and it went 50 yards, and it was a great touchdown. And it would have been the end of the game, and we had played. I don't know if people remember that, but that was the day I heard that guy talking about Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. We've seen some big games in that game, and they end up beating Oklahoma State. If we win, we win it. And if Texas won, they would get a piece of it.
Yep.
And we played so well defensively to win the game, and I think the score was only like maybe 6-3 at halftime.
Yeah, I thought that McCoy's younger brother threw some squirrely pass and they scored, and I was like, that's what they do at that team. Yeah. But you guys ended up dominating later on. If you're in a shootout, and you have been a part of those, and your job is to try to stop the opposing team, and it's just one of those hair-on-fire games, TCU Baylor 61-58,
right,
56-50 against UT in Austin, the game in Morgantown, what do you tell Art Briles or whoever your head coach is when they say, Phil, do you think we could stop them?
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly. When I remember vividly TCU in 14, they had their quarterback the game, but here's the thing that was different. And Patterson always hates when I bring this up. We had almost 800 yards offense. They had 422. We had given up like 28 points that we weren't even on the field. And now they still made some plays, but we had played much better defense than them. And when he decided to go for it, Art told me, he sat there and he goes, "You want to play coverage?" I said, "Hell no." And I said, "We're going," because we sort of found a rhythm. And I'll never forget my number 9, on Big Josh. We knew they'd run the fade. He knew it, everybody in the stadium, and we hit the quarterback because he was throwing it, and Gary knew that was their only chance to win.
Yeah.
And we were able to get out of it.
One of the biggest plays, Ryan Reed, right? Didn't he make
Ryan
the play?
Reed, number 9.
Yep.
The pride of Sherman, Texas.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, man, good to see you. Stay into that treatment and all that other stuff. It's always great to have you. People in the chat love you. Super chat when you come on from people putting money into our pocket. We appreciate that.
Well, we enjoyed doing it, and we'll look forward to talking to y'all next week.